Let's get straight into it. Level 1 is the entry point. Cars like the Mercedes CLA, GLA, and GLB exist to pull people into the brand. They look premium enough to impress your friends. The interiors have giant screens and turbine-style vents straight out of an S-Class, and the three-pointed star on the hood does most of the heavy lifting. Starting around $43,000, they feel like an accessible way into the Mercedes world. But after a few months, many owners realize they bought the image more than the actual experience. Underneath the luxury styling is still a front-wheel drive platform with a small turbocharged four-cylinder engine, decent acceleration, and enough compromises to remind you this is the budget tier. Road noise creeps into the cabin, the suspension can feel rough on bad pavement, and rear seat space disappears fast if your passengers are taller than average. The real pain comes later when depreciation hits like a brick. A brand new entry-level Mercedes can lose nearly half its value within a few years. The smarter move here is buying lightly used and letting the first owner absorb the financial damage. Level 2 is where Mercedes finally starts feeling like Mercedes. The C-Class and GLC are the cars that make people understand why the brand has such a loyal following. Prices jump into the $50,000 to $60,000 range, but the difference in engineering is obvious almost immediately. Rear-wheel drive architecture, smoother handling, better balance, quieter cabins, and highway comfort completely transform the experience. Even the base models now come with mild hybrid assistance that makes acceleration smoother and more refined during everyday driving. This is where the brand's DNA starts matching its reputation. A well-optioned C300 or GLC 300 with ventilated seats, panoramic roof, and premium audio feels genuinely upscale without crossing into financial irresponsibility. For many buyers, this is the sweet spot. Enough luxury to feel special, enough practicality to live with every day, and none of the massive cost escalation waiting above it. Level 3 moves into executive territory with the E-Class and GLE. This is the level where the car quietly communicates success without needing attention. Starting in the mid-$60,000 range and climbing into the $70,000s with six-cylinder engines and options, these cars deliver a completely different level of refinement. Rear passengers finally get real space, highway cruising becomes effortless, and the suspension tuning reaches the point where long-distance driving feels relaxing instead of tiring. Driver assistance systems also become meaningfully better here, with adaptive cruise control and lane centering technology that genuinely reduce fatigue during long trips. Most people honestly never need to go beyond this level. The E-Class and GLE provide nearly everything buyers want from luxury cars before the prices start increasing much faster than the actual improvements. Then comes Level 4, the S-Class. This is no longer just transportation. It is a statement. Starting around $120,000, the S-Class exists to redefine comfort and isolation from the outside world. Air suspension reads the road ahead using cameras and adjusts before bumps are even felt. The cabin becomes whisper quiet. Materials feel handcrafted. Rear seats recline like airline business class suites with massaging functions, climate zones, and enough legroom to stretch out completely. The S-Class is less about driving and more about arriving. But the reality is that it is maybe 20% better than a loaded E-Class while costing nearly twice as much. That extra refinement only makes sense if you are the kind of person who notices and values every tiny detail every single day. Level 5 shifts the conversation entirely with AMG models. This is where Mercedes stops being elegant and starts becoming dangerous. AMG cars take luxury platforms and inject them with absurd levels of performance. Cars like the C63, E63S, and GLE63 transform ordinary luxury sedans and SUVs into machines capable of humiliating sports cars at traffic lights. Hand-built engines, aggressive exhaust notes, track-ready engineering, and acceleration numbers once reserved for supercars define this category. Yet the brilliance of AMG is that many of these cars still function as daily drivers. An AMG GLC 43, for example, gives you real performance and character while still carrying groceries and surviving traffic without becoming exhausting. The S-Class impresses people while parked. AMG impresses them the second you start the engine. Level 6 belongs entirely to the G-Class because the G-Wagon stopped being just a car years ago. It became a cultural symbol. Originally developed as a military vehicle in the late 1970s, it somehow evolved into one of the ultimate luxury status symbols on Earth. Starting well above $150,000 before dealer markups, the G-Class makes absolutely no logical sense. It is heavy, inefficient, difficult to park, and shaped like a refrigerator. Yet people adore it because nothing else projects the same level of wealth, confidence, and presence. The door closing sound is literally trademarked. AG63 with its roaring V8 feels less like transportation and more like a rolling announcement that the owner stopped caring about practicality a long time ago. Finally, Level 7 enters territory where cars become assets, collectibles, and moving symbols of wealth. This is the world of Maybach models and the AMG 1 hypercar. A Maybach S-Class or GLS transforms luxury into pure excess with champagne flutes, reclining rear seats, folding tables, and cabins designed to feel closer to private jets than automobiles. Then there is the AMG 1, a $2.7 million Formula One Inspire hypercar with only 275 examples produced worldwide. At this level, the car is no longer bought for transportation at all. It exists as a statement, an investment, and proof that money has stopped functioning like a normal limitation. The real trick to Mercedes ownership is understanding where the value actually exists. Level 1 sells the image of luxury. Levels 2 through 4 deliver the genuine Mercedes experience where the engineering finally justifies the price. Beyond that, the cars become emotional purchases, status symbols, and wealth statements more than rational transportation. For most people, the smartest move is somewhere between a C-Class and an E-Class. Enough luxury to enjoy every day without turning your garage into a financial black hole. Because at the end of the day, the best Mercedes is not the most expensive one. It's the one you'll actually drive, enjoy, and remember long after the social media hype fades away.